Meanwhile at Manage Comics. Coming to you from a secret underground lair, these dedicated heroes discuss the business of comics, industry news, hobby store retail issues, and the latest developments from Manage Comics. They are promoters of comics, champions of small business, and four-color heroes. They are the Manage Comics team.
Hey everyone, welcome to Meanwhile at Manage Comics. This is episode 18, I think. Yeah, 18. And this is the international edition. And today we are going to talk about some new Manage Comics updates that will be launched later this evening. I have done a metric butt ton of testing on this. Metric, get it? Because international. And yeah, it's looking really, really good. I'm going to do one final regression test with a non-international store just to make sure that I didn't screw anything up and all that. But I think things are good. So without any further ado, and by the way, say hi. I see Owen Lambert says good evening. Anybody else who's here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Definitely check in, and we'll mention you as we get going. So I'm going to show you my UK Manage Comics example shop. And so this is a little example shop that is in UK dollars. So everything is set up in Great Britain pounds. And one of the first things you'll see is when we go to an actual subscription that it now has a pound symbol. So by default, we will take in your symbol. Your currency symbol, and that will get updated. And of course, your currency exchange will be put in there as well. So yeah, if you, in this case, this store has a 0.85 conversion rate. So a $29.99 comic or hardcover here gets converted to £25.49. And if we go to my Canadian shop here, we've actually added price tiers. So there's two different ways that we can do the pricing. We can either do it just a straight exchange rate or with a pricing table. And what's cool about pricing tables is that they will go anything below your lowest price. So in this case, our lowest price is $2.99. Anything below that would just use the exchange rate. Anything that is above your exchange, your tier, which is indicated by nothing, would be use your exchange rate. And then in between, we've got everything that's going to use the exchange rate. And what we've done here is this is a good example where we have a bunch of pricing tiers for stuff up to $4.99, and then anything over $4.99 but below $16.99 is going to use the exchange rate. So how we identify that is by putting in the price and nothing in the exchange price. And all this is in our help documentations. So yeah, from now on, you can actually set exchange prices, and you can do as many as you want. I haven't tested it with more than like 50, but I'm pretty sure it'll work with an infinite number. What I'd be interested in seeing is how slow the front end gets when we add a bunch more. So I'll definitely do one last test with, 100 exchange rates, maybe 200 exchange tiers. Right now, you will have to set this manually. At some point, I'd like to add the ability for you to upload a CSV and just, create, but it doesn't take long. This took me a couple minutes, and this isn't something you're going to have to, repeatedly do every month. It's something you might change once every 6 months or a year, depending. And if you're going to change it more often than that, you might just be better off to use the straight up exchange rate. So here we see this Batman. It's $3.99 comic, I think. $5.25. Yeah. So it's a $3.99 comic. Action Comics is a $4.99 comic. So it's going to get the $6.60 exchanged here. If I were to say, if I were to move this and say 4.76 with no exchange price and save that out, this will now use the exchange rate instead. So 6.59. This is a comic or trade paperback which has an exchange rate of 25.99. So it was a 16.99 price. And this is an example of a comic that isn't in our exchange tier. I believe it's $12.99. And so since that's outside of the tiers, it's going to go to 17.15. So it just uses your exchange rate when it's not. Ivan says that a butt is an actual unit of measurement, and Danica is here from Variant Edition. Hey, Danica, this will be especially applicable to you. So yeah, that's our exchange rates and our tiers. This is well underway now, and we'll have this released to the public tonight. I've just got to kind of finish up what I was writing on the help documentation on exchange tables. So I do have a help documentation. I'm gonna just include a bunch of screenshots so that you guys can see all this stuff, and we'll throw in a video as well. Owen says comics and games have 3 branches with 3 different invoices per week, but all online businesses are handled through a single website. Can you talk a bit about how branch online subs are handled? Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. They're not. We currently don't support multiple stores. We do have that on our timeline, and that will be the next large project we work on. It's huge. It's not a simple thing, and there's basically 3 different ways that people handle multi-store. One of them is each unit is its own unit. It has its own P&L and has its own, website and everything. So that's the simplest one, and we support that one right now because each unit acts as an independent unit. Second one is all units are under one umbrella, and they order out of one central location. So they only have one Diamond, one Lunar, one Penguin Random House account. They merge those all up. Comic City in Detroit is an example of that. And that is, of the 3 versions, kind of the easiest one for us to, well, second easiest. Easiest is obviously one store, one thing. Handling one Diamond account with separate stores is probably the second easiest thing to do. That's probably what we'll roll out next. And then the third hardest thing to do is what you're suggesting, which is 3 stores, separate Diamond, Lunar, and PRH accounts, one website. That one is a little bit tougher, but we'll get them all done. So we'll probably start this in about 3 to 4 weeks, and then I anticipate it taking about 2 months to get completely done. So by the end of the summer, we should be done with that stuff. We've got a couple little things that we have to iron out before we can get working on it, and the biggest thing is just the kind of logic, which is what I'm working on right now. So I've been building the logic for how all that will work right now, and we'll get that rolled out before the end of the summer. That's my goal right now. And there's a couple reasons for that. We've got a few multi-store locations right now. We've got one store that has over a dozen locations that wants to merge stuff in. We also have our existing classic product, which is not nearly as good as 2.0, and with classic it requires multi-store to get a bunch of the stores off of classic. So I would like to sunset classic at some point in the next 6 to 12 months, and in order to do that I have to make sure that everybody that's on classic can seamlessly upgrade to 2.0, and I think that's the only thing kind of preventing me from doing that. So great question, Owen. I appreciate it. I wish I had a a quicker answer for you, but we are working on this. It's something that we've known about for a while. It's also literally the most complicated thing that we would have to do. I kind of wish we would have built it from the get go to handle multi-store, but we were so busy doing everything else to get everything handling multi-distributor and everything that that part kind of slipped our mind. Speaking of multi-distributor, we've had some great talks with Penguin Random House, Lunar, Diamond, and all the publishers on getting better data. I know there's an issue right now with our Marvel ratios not showing up properly. We are working on that, and I think we'll have that finished up tonight. I'm not sure why, but all of a sudden, GeekFetch stopped noticing ratio numbers for Marvel. I think there may have been a small change to it, but somebody mentioned it to us. We looked into it, and that's what we found. So, by all means, if you do notice something like that where ratios aren't being reported properly, let us know because it's the only way that we can fix issues going forward. So, yeah, 100%. I don't know why I still have my screen up. That's kind of boring. Sorry about the hat. Still got a little bit of a dent from where my doctor removed a mark from my head, and it's kind of gross looking. So wearing a hat. Enjoy. Um, yeah, and then the other thing that we're working on right now with Managed Comics is we're improving um our Geek Fetch so that we can actually show products IDs. And I'll show you what that'll look like in a second here. So in places like now I am turning my screen back on. So in places like let's say ordering, we'll do June and I'll grab Lunar. So places like this where you're going to see, Night Terrors number 3. Going forward, see that I'm in my QA environments because all my colors are drastically different, because we've had a problem in the past where we've accidentally been in QA and made or production and made changes to something thinking we were in QA. So we use a clever clever scheme of colors. So anyway, these links are deep links into our GeekFetch information. So this will actually link into this page and show you all the details of that comic. So we'll open it up in a new tab and all that good stuff. But going forward, you'll have a lot more information about the books because you'll be able to click things and get right to them. May even add we may even add a little thumbnail next to the book here. Not sure. I just don't want this page to get too ridiculously large in terms of loading, but I still want to include more information. The other thing that I'm pretty sure that Taras has done, but I haven't fully QA'd, is we have an ordering history. And this is not going to be terribly good for mine. Yeah, because I haven't placed any orders in QA. But when you place your orders, your initials and FOC orders through Managed Comics, when you save them and everything, it'll actually save how many shelf, sub, and held quantities you have, how many have sold over time. So you'll start to see that stuff. I've got to write up the documentation on it, but we'll be releasing this in the next week or so, and it's getting better all the time. So again, if you use it and you find problems, let us know and we'll get them fixed up. Owen also says he spoke to Mike, the MD of Diamond UK. Happy with me introducing you to him via email. Excellent. Yeah, I'd love to get some data feeds from Diamond UK. Getting UK pricing would be great. Getting UK codes for items that they don't currently carry, like Diamond, would be awesome. So yeah, I'd be happy to. Also, getting the full data for some of the stuff that you guys get before us, like Rebellion, where we don't get it for 6 months. Yeah, that'd be great, so that you could have that stuff available for subscription and ordering for sure. And then I'll have to make sure that I do something to make sure that doesn't show up over here immediately. But yeah, by all means, I'd love to talk to Owen. Hey Jeff, good afternoon. You should scroll back and watch the stuff about the pricing things, because it'll definitely apply to your Canadian store. Our pricing tables, exchange tables, and currency. If for whatever reason you set your so when we release this, if for whatever reason the wrong currency is showing, um, definitely just like go in here, click the button, and click save, and it will change the currency symbol on the front end. It should just detect your country and just automatically do it. So yeah, that's by and large everything that we've been working on lately. I will I will gladly take any questions if anybody has any questions. Anybody want to ask me anything? I'm going to pull up my roadmap and see if there's anything that we need to talk about that's on the roadmap and where we are right now. Um, Pop that back up. So initial FOC. So this should be like done this week and up. International store pricing, that's done. As soon as I get my documentation out, we'll release this. Shopify customer data requirements. So Shopify now requires us to inform you as a store owner that we collect first name, last name, and email address. We also have to do ridiculous like 3-level security compliance stuff that is crazy considering we're talking about a first name, a last name, and an email address, and not payment information or passwords or any of that stuff that we let Shopify deal with. All we need is a person's first name, last name, and email. And they're like, why do you need those things? To identify which human beings are ordering products, I guess. So after that, think I think the next thing is we've got a couple little things that I want to like knock off. They're just like notes and things like that. And we'll do those things as I'm finalizing our specs for the multi-store. But I think, oh, the other one is a Shopify asset API resource agreement. So Shopify doesn't want us injecting code into your site anymore. Instead of that, we'll use something called an app something or other. Basically, I can show you really quickly. When you install Manage Comics, and you'll have to make a small little change, there'll be a little thing here called an app block. It'll be a Manage Comics app block. You'll click on add that, and then it'll add our little bit of code. So it's actually a little simpler than before, but it's also one more step that you'll have to take. And what that means is that if you upgrade your theme, that little app block will come over with it. If you create a new theme, then you'll just have to save that app block in your site somewhere. But while we're in there doing this, I would really once we've figured out how to use an app block, I think it'd be super cool if we had an app block here that would actually show your monthly subscription. The little image that we present. I'd like to start showing that here. So every month, this will change based on the new catalog month when it comes out. So yeah, that's something that I'm working on. Owen says, "How can I schedule a chat?" Yeah, Owen, just go to managecomics.com/meeting, MEETING, and you can book a meeting with me for sure. I'd be happy to. Jeff says, how about group subs like all Star Trek titles or Secret Invasion tie-ins? Yes, Secret Invasion tie-ins, absolutely. I would like to get there. All Star Trek titles, I don't think is something we're gonna end up doing because it's scary. first of all, we don't have the data to say that this is a Star Trek title or not. We don't even have Secret Invasion tie-in data. We're working on that with distributors, publishers, and everyone else. For now, we've been building our own internal storylines for a while. I don't love it, and I would rather it came mandated from the publishers. But yeah, we've been building those for a while, and we'll definitely kind of build those out. I would like to build that as its own thing. We've had the code on our end done for quite a while. It's the external code so that you guys could add tie-ins to the front end, which we don't have yet because it's super confusing. It's simple things like, let's say you wanted all of the night terrors. That's a terrible idea. But if you wanted all night terrors, there's some one shots in there. There's series. Right now, the first thing that we're going to do is add series codes so that we can tie all one shots together. That's actually something that's in QA right now that I'm hoping to do this week as well. And then once we get that in, then we can do some more stuff like that. But yeah, it's a good question. Not right now is my answer. So the thing I was talking about, by the way, is this little guy here. This little. Oh, I'm in QA. I don't have any of them. Mm, uh, this guy, the featured item. So I'd like to be able to add that. You should be able to add that to your own store, and then every month this would automatically change for you. So that's what I'm hoping to do with that story about Shopify. The other thing from this week is once we update the managed comics or the data requirements for managed comics, you'll have to reauthorize the app because it's going to ask for permission to save your customer's first name, last name, email address. Like I said, we have to have that, or else you wouldn't know who you need to reserve Batman's for. And also, you wouldn't be able to send out your pull emails if we didn't have the email address. So it's just saying that we have access to that information. It's not anything you don't already know. We also ask for the individual customer's ID, just so that we can make sure that customers are unique in our database because we have 160 stores. Inevitably, we end up with customers that are using multiple stores in their city, and this way, they're unique by their Shopify ID, which is unique to each individual customer in each individual store. Um, just makes things helpful for us. So yeah, that's about it. Any other questions I can answer anyone? I'm gonna do a better. I it's so funny because this roadmap on the back end looks super slick, and I've got everything organized in like by the things that we're working on and when we're working on them. And then I see the customer version, and it horrifies me because every time I look at this, it's like this isn't the order I want to do things. This sucks. It's terrible. Anyway, that's a me problem, not you. Any other questions? Owen, we'll get all your questions at length as soon as you book a meeting with me. All right, folks, I think that's going to do it this week. Next week, we're going to talk about my Chicago trip. I just got back from Chicago, visited, I think 8 or 9 stores in the Chicago area. And then I also visited 2 stores in Kalamazoo, 1 store in Detroit, 1 store in Ann Arbor. So yeah, we'll talk about all those, and you can see all of that on our Instagram. If you go to instagram.com manage comics and you click on here, we'll just You'll see the Managed Comics Roadshow. So there's my pretty face with all the places that I was at. Yeah, I spent a lot of time with the Challengers guys. We went out to some wrestling, saw Collision in the United Center, and then we went out for dinner on Tuesday night. Saw Graham Crackers, Gmark Comics, Zombie Unicorn, Dark Tower Comics, Alley Cat Comics, Chicago Comics, Fanfare, and Vault of Midnight. So, and plus, I dropped by Big Ben's Comic Oasis on my way through so that I could finally meet Jeff, who has talked to me quite a bit over the years, and yeah, it was nice to kind of get to meet his face. So, yeah, for sure. Next week we'll talk about the Chicago comic scene, and in the meantime and in between times, keep managing those comics. And we will see you next week.